SEMLEC, Southeast Mass Law Enforcement Council, is nothing more than a collaboration or association of local police agencies, and really, a lot of our law enforcement activities are not isolated to our individual communities, and so we share resources, we share intelligence, and sharing all of those things, including our talents. When we're able to pool resources of personnel, we're able to pool resources of equipment like this. Those kind of things benefit our individual communities. And so the Law Enforcement Council in the state is broken up into several regional law enforcement councils. There's nothing more than that collaborative effort amongst those police agencies. It's kind of the umbrella organization. These vehicles that you have here, one of which is a mobile command vehicle. The command vehicle is a place to make those unified decisions. The command vehicle is a place where the post chief, control chiefs of whatever agency or whatever unit may be coming out, whether it's SWAT or whether it's search and rescue, they can make those important decisions, timely decisions in the field in one place. So they're getting good intelligence, and that's how they can best make their decisions. The other vehicles are really protected vehicles. There's no armaments on either one of these vehicles. It's essentially no different than issuing a ballistic vest to an officer or a ballistic helmet in a high-risk situation. The difference is these are vehicles that provide that same protective quality to officers in the field. They're vehicles that give us that time that we need to make an assessment of what the situation is, what is the risk, not only to police officers, but to the people that are involved, to the general public, and to make decisions based on that intelligence that we're gathering. And the only way we can really do that effectively and efficiently is by having time, and these vehicles provide us with the ability to take some time to make that kind of assessment. And so maybe a surprise to some, but it's 2018, and we know that in violent incidents and critical incidents take place in every city and town. Nobody is immune to those type of situations, and so to be most effective and to carry out our responsibilities in each individual respective community, we need to be better at collaborating and using our mutual aid assets and resources, and that's what these vehicles provide to us.
I feel like a question that a lot of people have is, I know SEMLEC is made up of various communities. How do you guys all come together? When there's an emergency, do you just text everyone and say, hey, and who comes?
Yeah, so of course today, now with computers, you have a lot more options out there available to you. One of those options we use is a software that allows you to actually respond not only through text but through the computer system, where you can do it on your phone, and actually once you get a message that something is taking place and they're asking you to respond immediately to Site X, that you can do that through your smartphone, even without making phone calls, because phone calls ultimately take a lot of time. We're using technology now and software that enables us to have that communication coordination without ever talking to one another. We're also getting assessments through that. So with smartphones, we can get an assessment of what the situation is, what the threat is, what the risk is, what we should be concerned about, and start to think about those things before we ever arrive on scene. And so those officers that all the member police agencies, there are 30 cities and towns in SEMLEC in southeastern Mass. We're as far north as East Bridgewater, West Bridgewater, as far south as Wareham, Marion, Mattapoisett, down that way. And so we encompass a lot of cities and towns in that region, and everyone commits personnel to different aspects and different things that are under the SEMLEC umbrella, one of which is Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT teams. And all we do is we simply coordinate all those personnel, those highly skilled and trained personnel, into one cohesive and coordinated group. So when they respond to a situation, they're on the same page. It doesn't matter what agency they come from. They're all operating as one, and they're all operating under one standard operating procedure as well. And so it's a real valuable asset to our individual communities, because we never know which community is going to have a need for these types of assets. The other thing to consider is that these vehicles are not used just because a community says they need it. These assets are restricted only to when we believe it's necessary. And so they have to meet a certain qualification, a certain minimum standard before we actually deploy these vehicles to a given community.
Okay.